racing enthusiasts. Are you ready to take your sim racing experience to the next level? Look no further because 29 Graphics has got you covered. Introducing 29 Graphics, the premier provider of high-quality sim racing wraps. Whether you're a professional racer or weekend warrior, our custom design wraps will make your car stand out from the competition. 29 Graphics is now the official graphics design partner of Saturday Night Racing League.
It's a big diamond water might just try to run him out of room here. Oh, he bumped in the wall, they're gonna crash! They both crash!
Contact 29 Graphics on their Discord or the link in the video description.
Drivers, start your printers.
To keep pace with the ever-changing landscape of marketing and advertising, let Clark Print Shop help you spot the trends and keep you in front of the pack with all your color printing needs. From business cards to invitations, menus to mugs, we can print anything you need on paper or your choice of over 3,000 promotional items. Visit www.clarkprintshop.com to browse our online catalog and place your order today, or call us at 276-889-3426. For a limited time, use the code iRacing for 23% off your first purchase. The staff at Clark Print Shop looks forward to handling all your color printing needs.
In the heartland of our country, something magical is happening. At Walkin' and Rollin' Costumes, we know the power of community, of hands coming together to create wonders. These costumes are symbols of love, compassion, and inclusion. Your hands can craft dreams. Join us at Walkin' and Rollin' Costumes Build Events and be a part of something extraordinary.
Well, here we are for the first week of the chase in the third season of Saturday Night Racing League, and we're at the track Too Tough to Tame this week as drivers square off for the first round of the elimination of 12. Welcome in, everybody. I'm your host, and live from the virtual Darlington Raceway, it's Bradley Cooper and Connor Horn up in the booth here on V-Speed. Quick look at your points as we go into that elimination. It's Jeff Wright with the points lead. Bailey Turner with 2 wins, not able to claim that, missed it by just 7 points. Joshua Banks, Alex Bell, Jeremy Miller, Taylor Butcher Benjamin, Ryan Carwile, Chris Hodges, Eric Hutton, Joseph McWhorter, Eddie Trejo, and Mark Whitley will be in this top 12. Brian Chambliss, fortunately, Philip Brewer, a few others, Casey Lakatos eliminated from this, Chuck Sweeting, Austin Belkey, Bryce Shoemaker, some of those drivers that had not made the top 13. So a quick look at Darlington Raceway. This track back in the 1950s, 1949, they broke ground at this speedway. And ever since then, it's been a historic and unique setup, 1.36 miles, 25 to 23 degrees of banking. And it's a very narrow and high groove here at this racetrack. Very difficult to get around this place. And this 4-corner egg-shaped oval that has reinvented what you know about stock car racing. Race analysis coming up on your screen now as we go through 140 laps. Pit road speed limit, one of the more difficult pit roads to get on and off of. You'll start your entry almost at the exit of turn 3, and it depends on how brave you want to be as you progressively work your way down that banking. The track flattens out massively. Very, very easy to lose control of these machines while trying to navigate that entry to pit road. But with that, it's time to talk about our pole sitter, And starting on the pole here tonight, it's Jeff Wright in the number 48 machine. Ran a 29.437 to start up front here today. Seth Hatchell, a 29.462. He will be starting on the outside of the number 48, your points leader. Row number 2 goes to Bailey Turner, and Nathan Ferrata is going to start in the 4th position. Then it's Mark Whitley and Michael Sturgill, 5th and 6th. 7th, Joshua Banks. Noah Mahalski will start in 8th. And rounding out your top 10 is Ryan Carwile and Alex Bell. Morgan Cook, V-Speed's very own, will start in the 11th position with Ray Massey in the 23 and 12. Then 13th goes to Dakota Floyd, Joseph McWhorter, 14th position. Jeremy Miller and Caleb Weekly side by side for row number 8. Then you have Rob Hamp and Logan Threlkeld for row number 9. And that top 20 is Justin Ritchie in the 55, Philip Brewer in the 20th position. Taylor Butcher Benjamin, 21st, Stephon Davis, 22nd, 23rd, Eddie Trejo, Brandon Wallace, 24th. Moving on to John Sanu in the 86, Nick F. Wood in 26th position. 27th, Kenny Fuller. Kenny Kibbe will start, so 2 Kennys there, 27th and 28th. J.R. Shepard, 29th position. Chuck Sweeting in 30th. We got a few more names here. About 41 cars here that we're electing. 37 actually making the grid. Brian Chambliss, 31st. Matt Shanoski in 32nd. Brian Chambliss and Matt Shanoski there in that row. Let's move on to the next one, please, ATVO. Christopher Hodges and Max Cost, 33rd and 34th. Electing not to take times, Mark McFadden and Austin Belke. And rounding out your field is Jonathan Smith in the number 72. So I know some guys still currently watching the Xfinity race. But if you check out the pinned message in the chat right now, pipe form is now closed. Well, let's see if we can go back here and republish this. Might have to change the duration of this. Not exactly sure why this is working this way. Well, on that note, we have delayed the green one more lap here. The light should go out on the iRacing pace car this time around. They will. Apparently, I have to buy a plan. Yeah, so we're just going to go ahead and publish that again, and we'll see as we watch these cars pace around here. But we do have that information up here, so I'm going to go ahead and repost this link and pin this message. We'll go ahead and pin that. There's the link right there. Pace car pulls off. We're getting set to go racing at Darlington Raceway. Let me know if that doesn't work again. I'll try to keep that updated. But for 140 laps at the Lady in Black, Jeff Wright is going to lead them into turn 1. Green flag is out, and we're live and racing from South Carolina. Oh, we got a car sideways in the background there. It looks like Rob Hamp lost control coming out of turn 4. Looks like he's going to hold on to it, but loses all of that ground, falls back to the 35th position here early in this run. And joining me up in the booth now, we've got Connor Horn up here. How was that finish there? Late caution in the Xfinity race.
Playoff implications for sure, and that's why we don't run a playoff system in this series for sure. I much rather like the chase format, and I'm glad we get to see that tonight, especially the chase opener at Darlington. Track too tough to tame, throwback schemes all over the place, and we already saw Hamp get bit by the lady in black there, but I don't think the 4 got any damage. It's not really surprising to see Jeff Wright taking the lead, but this is a product of this racetrack. This racetrack gets very tight very quickly. If there's one driver in the way of a line, like it looks like Mark Whitley is in the way right now, you get a dozen cars, get stacked up on one another. So we're going to see that all night long.
They're riding on board with Joshua Banks. And so as far as the link goes, if it does time out, I apologize, but try to get your votes in as soon as you can. We'll try to get a look at every one of these cars. There are examples of all of them out there on the racetrack. Some of them custom, some of them true throwbacks. As you can see right here, the Dale Earnhardt throwback of Noah Mahalski currently in the 8th position. Started in 8th, has stayed there. This track, very difficult to pass on. You're going to see a lot of that here, especially in the top 10, where drivers might advance 1 or 2 positions this entire stint.
Yeah, every pass is going to take lap after lap. It's not like a track like Iowa, for example, where you might be able to make that pass in 1 lap. You're going to have to, it's going to take a majority of the run to just make 1 or 2 passes. So you need to really pick and choose your battles wisely. If you get a run on someone, you almost certainly have to take it. If you don't have enough of a run, don't force the issue. Don't go too wide in a 1-lane wide corner. We see that become a problem a lot of times at Darlington. We try to go side by side, entry to 1 or exit of 2. Specifically those spots of the racetrack. If you try going side by side through there, you are going to lose so much time to the point it's not even worth making the pass anymore.
Watching Banks still working on the back of Mark Whitley. Right up on the back bumper coming out of turn 4. You're watching Seth Hatchell slowly reel Jeff Wright back in. The lead was over half a second there at one point, now down to just a quarter of a second. And they have pulled away from Bailey Turner. And we talked about the points and this chase format. Of course, Bailey Turner 7 points off of Jeff Wright. Same error for this publish here. So we'll try to get that link fixed for you guys. I apologize for that. It's kind of a last-minute deal there where we set up that survey, and so maybe I'm missing something there in the settings, and I'll try to get that taken care of for you. So we continue to watch the top 10. Let's go back a little bit further here. Maybe look at some of these other throwback schemes. There's a Terry Labonte throwback. There's Caleb Weekly in that Taco Bell. There's, I believe, a Jeff Burton behind him as well.
Justin Ritchie in the 55. Yep. That's another good paid scheme as well. There's so many. Philip Brewer, it's not a throwback, or I guess it is, because I know Justin Allgaier at least ran that scheme probably sometime this season, but that's what you see off the rear bumper of Justin Ritchie. Taylor Butcher Benjamin throwing back to himself from last week, right behind him. He almost tried making that pass for the 18th position. That's not where you want to do it. If you're only on the left rear quarter panel of someone entering turn 1, you're either wrecking that person or wrecking yourself, or you're backing out of it, because that's just not going to work. But a lot of throwback paint schemes, as we're going to know as many as we can as we get deeper into the night here in Darlington. Long race ahead of these drivers, and Taylor Butcher Benjamin not being very patient. I think he knows he's faster than Philip Brewer, but 131 laps to go. He's got to take his time, as you can see how stacked up it is at the front of the field. It almost looks like a 2013 Super Speedway race at Daytona or Talladega, where you just have everyone training around the top side.
Riding on board with Taylor Butcher Benjamin, you can see how close these drivers get to that outside wall lap after lap. And we talked about the sections of this racetrack that you can complete passes, 3 and 4, and pretty much the straightaways. If you're coming out of turn 2 and you're side by side with a guy, you're most likely going to wreck. We see it time and time again where somebody might get a little loose there through 1 and 2. Guy takes it to the inside. You usually don't make it out the other side as Philip Brewer hits the wall there.
We're going to see a lot of Darlington stripes tonight. That's not more of a stripe, that's more of a big hit, but it definitely slowed him down big time, especially out of the corner. Butcher Benjamin, even with that mistake from Philip Brewer, just can't make that pass quite yet. So we're going to see a lot of drivers get Darlington stripes all night long, just battling all over the racetrack. They're side by side. Mark McFadden, Brian Chambliss, all the way back in 32nd. They're side by side with one another. At the front, pretty calm, still single file. Hatchell is with Jeff Wright, but no pass imminent at this point.
There's Banks looking again. Dives to the inside. That's another difficult aspect here because you can get such a good run off of 3 and 4. Whitley able to hold on to it. Banks not able to complete that pass. Got the entry to the corner, but it's almost like a short track the way you have to enter it and pull a slide job. You have to send it deep into the corner and then drag, trail brake a little more than you usually would. Just slide up in front of the guy. However, you better be kind to that person through the season because this is one of those places where you're going to test the patience of the guys around you. Too many slide jobs and eventually you're going to get dumped.
And Whitley and Banks are both very aggressive drivers, and they don't apologize to anyone. So if these two clash, it would be monumental, as Banks is really forcing the issue, keeping the right front inside of Whitley there. But yeah, those passes in 3 are still going to be tough. You need to be fully alongside someone entering a corner to have the chance to clear them before you get to the middle of the turns. It's just not going to be possible without doing that or without making contact. But we haven't seen any of that so far. Banks, I think, is faster, but so hard to make these passes work, and they've got plenty of time left to do it. They probably still have, depending on where they want to pit, it'll probably be about lap 45 to lap 50 where they try to stretch it to make sure they can get a 2-stop to work. We usually see a lot of tire wear here. You'd likely see at least a few drivers trying that extra 3rd stop, but 2-stop should be the way if we go fully green. But we'll see how the tire wear is with the night setting in here, a low track temp. But even with low track temps, you're still going to see high tire wear.
Continues to carry on now for 15 laps. We've stayed green. We have a car down on the apron. That's the 14 machine. I believe had some problems early in the run. It's Kenny Fuller. Started in the 27th spot, is now labeled as 1 lap down into the wall there on the outside.
That's one thing. When you see a car slow on the bottom and they start coming up, you just really don't know if they're going to come up into you or not, so it kind of scares those drivers going around them. That's why you saw Caleb Weekly and Justin Ritchie slam the wall down out of turn number 2, and you're going to see a lot of more drivers really hit that wall hard. That's the big trouble spot. I think the exit of 2, if you miss by a few centimeters in the sim, you're going to smack that outside wall. Your day is going to be done, just like Sturgill almost did. He hit it pretty good, but he might have actually survived. It wasn't that big of a hit.
We've got side by side with Sturgill and Joseph McWhorter. We saw in the chat there earlier, somebody kind of feeling that McWhorter's going to get the first win of the season. Kind of in a slump here. Last season, defending champion Joseph McWhorter got the playoff berth, but hasn't performed as he did last season.
We've had new drivers. We've had some drivers that aren't new but just run more races. It's just been a little bit of a tougher competition, a bit of a tougher field for him this season, and I think he's definitely, part of him struggling has been because of that. And it's not like he's not running well. He's still a top 10 driver for sure, and he's still going to be in this championship competition until the very end, but he's not seated where I think he would probably hope he'd be. He starts 13 points below points leader Jeff Wright, and I'm sure he's hoping he's a playoff performer. He can turn it around here and just flip that switch once these playoffs start tonight. So far, all right, 14th to 11th, but I'm sure he'll be hoping for more.
Biggest mover in the top 10 right now. It's the wrong direction. It's Michael Sturgill. He's fallen back 4 spots from starting in 6th. And it looks like he's going to lose more contact there with the 73 of McWhorter.
I think McWhorter got a boot from Morgan Cook, and now he's actually got some rear end damage, and Morgan Cook's going to pay the price for the contact with McWhorter and let another playoff driver, Jeremy Miller, by, but he threw it into turn 3 to stay on the right rear of the 30 of Miller. And they're going to stay side by side. They're going to make more contact off of turn number 4.
They got really tight. Philip Brewer actually gets a little sideways in the background back there. Side by side into 1, up into the door, and slides in.
said there wasn't going to be contact. They're just still making contact everywhere. Miller and Morgan Cook made a little bit more as well off the exit of 2. It's all smooth sailing at the battle for the lead. It's not much of a battle, but they've gapped Bailey Turner in 3rd. Wright and Hatchell have. As now we're talking about those guys who are corks in the bottle waiting to pop. I think it's Morgan Cook at this point. He's got about half a dozen cars stacked up behind him.
Into the wall for the 54, just in front of Miller. This is outside the top 10. And a couple other drivers that are on the move big time. 5 spots gained here for Chuck Sweeting. He's worked his way up to 25th. And for Chuck Sweeting, not taking the time to start this race. Probably not one of the racetracks I wouldn't want to try to qualify on, just because it's so difficult to navigate through this traffic. And you're almost guaranteed that something will happen in front of you.
Yeah, this is one of the worst tracks not to put a time down, because it takes so long to get up to the front, up through the field. And if you go fully green some reason, it's not going to work out for you. So he has given himself a lot of work to do as it's battling all throughout this field. Looking at, I believe it's a Wrangler throwback. One of those drivers, that's Christopher Hodges in the 51. He's up to 27th from the 33rd position. So he's had a good climb in that throwback as well. 6 positions might not sound like a lot, 24 laps, but at a track like Darlington, it is hugely key to get any sort of positions possible. So he's done a good job making that work. I just saw Miller make the pass for 11th on McWhorter, but now McWhorter is back in front of the 54 as Taylor Butcher Benjamin starts to fade at the same time, as Hodges is continuing to try to move forward, as he's got some decently clean track ahead of him as well.
So while I try to randomize this this poll and try to find another way to get this done, we're going to ride around. We're going to look for some battles on the racetrack. Close racing here with Sturgill, Jeremy Miller into the top 10. Sturgill continues to fall down 5 positions. McWhorter to the inside here through 1 and 2, and now into 3 and 4. I know Sturgill, kind of a late entry into this event, said he had no business qualifying where he was starting. I heard him voice that opinion about his own. He had really 0 practice coming into today, so it's been a little bit of a struggle for the 3 team. Continues to fall. Morgan Cook looked to the inside there. You got Ray Massey in the background there. All these drivers from about 12th on back being kind of held up here, kind of checked up.
And you could visually see how slow the 3 is at this point in the run. His last time was about 0.8 of a second slower than the race leader, Jeff Wright, in clean air. As you can see how much this field has spread out, at the top 9 have pulled away from Jeremy Miller, who was stuck in that battle for the longest time. And this is kind of how this track works. It creates almost certain packs like you would see at a super speedway, but it's not because people lose a draft. It's because you get one person holding a bunch of people up, and it just creates these packs of drivers that get impatient and angry with each other. Oh, slide! That's Morgan Cook, who slid up in the Sturgill a little bit there. He sent it in a little too far into turn number 3, trying to slide in front of Sturgill, but he couldn't quite do it. It's going to cost him a spot to Dakota Floyd, and now Ray Massey's going to try to make positions up. He's going to hit him again.
Looks like the handling's starting to suffer on some of these machines. Just 28 laps in, really loose off the corner for a few of these drivers. And there's a position gained. 55er Richie falls back to 19th spot. Top 5 has pretty much stayed the same. Joshua Banks up 2 positions. Nathan Ferrata down 2 spots, but maybe saving tires here in the 07. They're side by side again with Whitley and Banks. Banks has not been able to get around the 77 car pretty much since the start of this race, man. And really loose off of 4.
He got loose, Alex Bell got loose, and Ferrata in that Carl Edwards throwback, I think he hit the wall lap 1, but he's been able to keep it straight at least, as this battle's crazy. Mahalski and Alex Bell are still battling for the 7th position behind this. This is a tight battle with the Dale Earnhardt throwback and Clint Boyer on the bottom. Is Carl going to try 3 wide? Not quite. He's going to look to the bottom because Bell opened it up. But, yeah, that 07 I think had issues early, but hitting the wall still running 6th is pretty solid. I would think he would be pretty happy with that at this point. Oh.
All right, so we're still working on said poll, but I will get that information typed up for you as we're 31 laps into this event. You've gotten a look at quite a few of these cars. We'll go back here to look at some of these others. There's a throwback from Stephon Davis and the number 66. Miller Lite looking like Rusty Wallace in the 90s.
It's really solid for sure. He's ahead of another driver, throwing back to himself and Chuck Sweeting. Sweeting continues to move through this field. He's up to 24th after starting in the 30th position. Meanwhile, at the front, there's no changes. Caution's out. There's a change. Lap number 32, the first caution of the race comes out. And it's Justin Ritchie and Philip Brewer destroyed in turn number 2.
Caleb Weekly gets a piece of this as well.
Yeah, that was part of that battle with Sturgill, I believe. I believe that those two were near each other. Oh yeah, those two came together big time, and Brewer and the 55 had nowhere to go.
One more look at it from another angle. Here goes Weekly to the inside of the 3, slides up into him across the nose. Morgan Cook gets a piece of it. Justin Ritchie nowhere to go, and the 98 as well. So
I saw the 3.
5 cars involved.
Yeah, we saw the 3 backing up, and I think Weekly saw an opportunity, had a little bit of a run, and tried to fired into turn 1 and slide up in front of a 3. But that corner is so abrupt, you don't have time to really pull a slide job there. You just kind of have no time to do that. So he throws it in there, nowhere near clear of Sturgill, and pinches a 3 into the wall, and probably ends his own race and 2 others in the process. So big crash to finally slow things down here.
So Jeff Wright leads him down pit road here on lap 34. Would expect to see 4 tire stops for everyone in this field. This is just about at that window here where these drivers would have been thinking about pit stops. 4 tire sets available, and a battle off pit road. Bailey Turner just barely inches out Mark Whitley for that 3rd position as we set up our top 5, pretty much the same all the way back to Banks, Nathan Ferrata in 6th, 7th Alex Bell, Ryan Carwile, Jeremy Miller, and Joseph McWhorter. That top 10. Well, we're going to work on that poll. We're going to try to get some information back up on the screen there and in that chat. You're watching the Saturday Night Racing League Chase Race number 1, live from Darlington. More coverage will continue here on V-Speed right after this.
Racing enthusiasts, are you ready to take your sim racing experience to the next level? Look no further because 29 Graphics has got you covered. Introducing 29 Graphics, the premier provider of high-quality sim racing wraps. Whether you're a professional racer or weekend warrior, our custom design wraps will make your car stand out from the competition. 29 Graphics is now the official graphics design partner of Saturday Night Racing League.
It's a big dive. McWhorter might just try to run him out of room here. Oh, he put him in the wall. They're going to crash. They both crash.
Contact 29 Graphics on their Discord or the link in the video description.
Drivers, start your printers.
To keep pace with the ever-changing landscape of marketing and advertising, let Clark Print Shop help you spot the trends and keep you in front of the pack with all your color printing needs. From business cards to invitations, menus to mugs, we can print anything you need on paper or your choice of over 3,000 promotional items. Visit www.clarkprintshop.com to browse our online catalog and place your order today, or call us at 276-889-3426. For a limited time, use the code iRacing for 23% off your first purchase. The staff at Clark Print Shop looks forward to handling all your color printing needs.
In the heartland of our country, something magical is happening. At Walk In and Roll in Costumes, we know the power of community, of hands coming together to create wonders. These costumes are symbols of love, compassion, and inclusion. Your hands can craft dreams. Join us at Walkin' and Rollin' Costumes Build events and be a part of something extraordinary.
Back here live from Darlington Raceway, and it looks like Seth Hatchell and Jeff Wright back on that front row for this next restart. Second time today that the pace car will get out of the way for these drivers. And a caution there on lap 33 between Caleb Weekly and Michael Sturgill. Brings out our first yellow of the day. 5 cars involved. As we sorted out Bailey Turner down on the apron there for a brief second, but green flag into the restart zone, back underway here from South Carolina. Not a good start in the back.
It looks like they all at least got it straightened out for now. Not sure why Turner was really on the apron, but at least at the front they sorted out. You still got some drivers in the wall back there. Oh, Whitley! Crashing! Takes out Hatchell. McWhorter, big damage. Dakota Floyd piled in, and that was all off of turn number 2, and the caution's out.
Big moment there off of turn 2. Whitley and Hatchell go around. Hatchell gets major damage. Suspension broken on the left front of that number 8 V-Speed Camaro. It's just a product of being side by side in that corner. We've talked about how you're probably not going to make it out the other side there.
Yeah, and that was side by side gone wrong for sure. And Whitley, I think, tried to take more room than he really could afford to use. As you can see up there, they're side by side. The 8 goes down to the bottom of a 77. You can see he's out of a darkened rubbered part of the track and just loses all grip and slaps the wall, then slaps the 8, and then Dakota Floyd just runs out of room to lose the 8 and actually avoid him, and that's the contact that broke the 8's left front suspension. He ran second pretty much his entire race, and now his day's pretty much done.
On board with the 77 of Mark Whitley here. Whitley gets a little bit loose right here, and that's what does it. Back in, kicks out, hits the 8 car.
Just out of the groove, and you got no grip up there in the dusty part of the racetrack, and that outside wall comes up in a hurry if you're offline at any point. So that definitely contributed to that crash, and we'll see if he's even able to continue because he took a pretty good hit.
So still working on that survey and that information. Try to get all of that typed up for you. It's unfortunate that we weren't able to get that working. Apparently Typeform has a paywall that I wasn't aware of. So we had that all typed up. I had all 37 of these cars ready to go. That's what I did for the last hour. It means nothing.
Oh, gosh. There was 2 playoff drivers involved. You had Whitley in there. McWhorter had damage. Somehow, I think they might have been the only 2 playoff drivers to get significant damage out of this. But, you know, with them neither of those drivers having any bonus points coming into this chase, that's going to make their lives a lot more difficult if they can't recover from that damage. I don't know how bad McWhorter's is. I think most of his damage is still from the right rear contact he got from Morgan Cook. So he might be able to recover. And I think the 77 has a lot bigger issues to deal with.
We can mention and talk about. So we have a grid challenge here that I need to inform everyone about. There's the graphic here, not ready for that. We were kind of announced on that a little bit late. But there is a grid challenge here in the Saturday Night Racing League, and so we'll try to get that information to you as well. We had several of these drivers doing throwbacks, and that was, you know, in itself kind of a last minute. If I had known, there would have been a V-Speed throwback out there, Connor, for sure.
Just a little bit late on that one. We still have good throwbacks, just not a V-Speed one. Probably could have gotten Logan in one. He's in just a Christmas car. Still a V-Speed car, but it's just Christmas themed. And it's got a big 54 on it, even though he's supposed to be in the 12, but that's okay.
Yeah, his trading paints, I think he had custom numbers set up on that. As we're back to 1 to green here on lap 41. I don't think we've seen the end of the carnage here. We're barely a quarter of the way through this race, and I don't think it's over yet.
No, I don't think so either, and this restart is not guaranteed to be clean either. It was row number 2 where it all stemmed from, and we saw the sliding in the background as well, but really, that's how important track position is. Mark Whitley put it pretty much all on the line there, trying to get on the first row, trying to get that second position away from Seth Hatchell, thinking he could challenge Jeff Wright for the lead, and just that quickly, it's all gone and thrown away, plus you get more drivers involved in the process. So that's the risk you have to take at Darlington. If you have any opportunity at track position, you got to go for it.
All right, so I figured out how I'm going to do this, but while we do it, lap 41, third start of the day. Jeff Wright on the loud pedal. Bailey Turner falls back a little bit here. Another check up in the back of the field into turn 1.
Harwell did not get a good restart. He actually lined up second. Now he's going to fall back to maybe the 5th position. Almost got by him. Here goes Alex Bell, 3 wide for the 4th position. 3 wide at Darlington does not work.
Somebody's going to have to back out of this all the way down on the apron for Bell. He held it down there pretty well, but he's going to get loose, and he loses it in front. No yellow. Down off the surface, and Caleb Weekly hard into the wall.
And he alt F4'd. Goodness, that was a hit, and there's going to be no caution for any of that. Wow.
Here's Bell and his spin.
He tries 3 wide. He's on the apron, which can work in real life, but the transition from the apron to the higher banked part of the track, he's got no grip down there, and then I think Miller gave him a little tap to end that one, and then I think Caleb Weekly got distracted watching him, then he slammed the inside wall. I think he alt forward to not bring out a yellow or cause any more issues. So we stay green through both those incidents, and now we have a new battle of a lead on our hands. Now Bailey Turner is chasing down Jeff Wright.
And I'm hearing some clutching on the 48 car, which means strategy is being played. Trying to make this a one-stop race. If it's possible, we've seen this 24 do it several times in the 3 seasons that we've covered for Saturday Night Racing. If it's going to be possible to make it in one stop, Bailey Turner is going to figure it out.
Yeah, we went green after pit stops briefly with about 104 laps to go. And if these tanks can make it 50 laps, that puts us right outside the window. But that includes a little bit of fuel saving under the immediate caution we had for Whitley and the aid of Hatchell, among others. So we might see these drivers, not just the 48, but we might see these drivers. Oh, as Banks almost hits Turner, but we might see these drivers try to stretch this into a one-stop, because even with how high tire wear is, the fall-off still wasn't quite enough. Jeff Wright ran a 29.7 on the first run of the race. His slowest lap was about a 31.4, so that's about a second and a half of fall-off. It's not enough to want to do that extra stop, I would think.
So I'm slowly working here, diligently working as we put all this together. Appreciate everybody that was in the chat here, and we'll get those uploaded and ready to go. I'll get you a new link. Going back deeper in this field, it's kind of settled down here a little bit. You can see a lot more room between a lot of these drivers. You know, a couple tenths here or there. I don't think they're pushing the issue. I think everyone's went into conservation mode, maybe thinking about this one stop and what they can do to out-strategize each other rather than trying to pass on the track.
Definitely seems that way, and it's kind of funny. We hear the 48 saving. He's definitely conserving. He's still able to lead this race. Bailey Turner not really willing to push the issue much further, and because of that, Joshua Banks is trying to push the issue himself. He keeps trying to get to be inside of Bailey Turner for second, but just cannot complete this pass very easily, and it's very tight quarters between those two. As Jeff Wright just able to cruise, coast into the corner, and just lightly throttle out of the corner at the same time. As we'll see again, not that time into the corner. I think he thought better of doing it in turn 1 because it's too tight of an entry. but he'll probably do it in 3 again if he feels the need to. But it's also possible that the pace slows down so much naturally that you might not even need the clutch and coast, although he's still going to do it in the turn number 3.
A lot of clutching, a lot of coasting. Joshua Banks, not so much. Definitely pushing it hard, but it's kind of difficult to get around a guy cleanly. They can go on conservation, clutch it a little bit, but then just stab that throttle to keep you to the outside or behind them. And that's what you're seeing here for Banks. He's wide open, whereas Jeff Wright has been kind of coasting, maybe 75 to 80% throttle on the exits of these corners. Still not enough. And Nathan Ferrata, though, this is a high for the race, up to 4th now. After starting in 4th, he had fallen back to about 7th position. Moment there for the 30 of Miller, got into the wall out of 4.
Yeah, I saw him have a light tap of it. Mahalski almost took advantage, but Miller did not lose position because of it. He's had a decent day, up fit from 15th to 6th. He's another one of those chase drivers. You need to have a good day to try to keep pace with the 48, but with the 48 coming into tonight with a 7-point lead, if he wins this race, he's extending it no matter what. So all these chase drivers, Turner, Banks, Carwile, Miller, these drivers need to hope for a mistake from the 48. We did get it last week, but they very rarely come from Jeff Wright.
Be back here with 19 positions gained for the 84 of Kenny Kibbe. And just behind him, 20 spots gained. So the biggest mover thus far is Chuck Sweeting into the top 10 after starting in 30th. I believe these cautions, the way everything fell, and these checkups on these restarts helped the 75 advance rather quickly. Got to be thankful that the positions gained. Very good chance that he could have gotten caught up in a wreck here after we've had our first 2 cautions right in front of him.
He is going to slow down. He's just going to give the spot to Taylor Butcher-Benjamin.
He's saving as well.
I think you'd have to. He is usually one that tries to be a little bit more conservative. I don't think he was clutching or anything, but definitely trying to at least conserve his stuff. Maybe not fuel fully, but just trying to keep the car in one piece, as he's now going to be back in that 12th position. Just behind him is Brian Chambliss, and Chambliss has also pretty much followed Chuck Sweeting through. They started 30th and 31st, and J.R. Shepard even started 29th. So they started 29th, 30th, 31st, or 11th, 12th, and 13th at this point. So pretty impressive climbs for all 3 of those drivers.
Looking for a close battle out on this racetrack. Nick Wood, Mark Whitley. Remember the 77 picked up some damage there from that second caution with Seth Hatchell. A few cars out of the race here. Justin Ritchie, Philip Brewer, Morgan Cook, early exit, Dakota Floyd, and Caleb Weekly. All picked up damage there. At some point, Weekly faceplant into the wall. Floyd and Cook got a piece of the wreck there off of turn 2 with Whitley and Seth Hatchell. Hatchell still out on the racetrack, but in the pits getting that damage serviced. And Bailey Turner has taken over, actually lost some ground. This is such a big gap there from Jeff Wright. I thought he had the lead.
Yeah, not quite yet, but Jeff Wright's starting to stretch out a little bit as Seth Hatchell's still their team's not trying to get the left front suspension back on. But Jeff Wright, even with this strategy he's employing, trying to save fuel, he's still able to pull away and be faster than 24. Now this is going to get tight for a second. Banks back to the bottom. They make more contact. You can see it off the bumper cam of the 48, but I think Banks short runs faster. Turner had the lift out of 2, but even though a 35 is faster, that pass is still far too difficult to make work. And Banks is going to get a little bit impatient, you would think, as we're inching closer to halfway, seeing that 48 pull away more and more. I would not be surprised to see him get a little bit more physical with Bailey Turner. We've seen that before. He's actually going to block Ferrata, but Ferrata's going to go for the bottom anyways. This is not where you want to be too wide, though. Oh, man, he got away with it for now.
We saw it just a moment ago there with Weekly and Sturgill. It didn't work out. The entry of 1, that slide in, came up across the nose of the 3, and we're checking in there with Sturgill, currently running in 14th. Got pretty minimal damage from that incident. But even so, just to, knock the toe out of this machine, it's such a tight groove that you can't really afford any kind of damage at all. You're going to pick some up over the course of this race on your own. Getting into a car, it's just going to probably be done for the day.
Yeah, I think he's got to be thankful he's not more destroyed after the contact with Caleb Weekly, and he's already back up to the 13th position right in front of the Buc-ee's mobile. That's what Chambliss is driving this week, as they're side by side for second again, as Stephen Davis is also trying to get a position away. That is a battle with Joseph McWhorter, who's climbed back up to 17th even with his damage. Whitley's trying to follow him through, and here comes Threlkeld also trying to follow through, getting by the 66 of Davis. That slide up usually is a slide up into the left side door of your competitor, like we saw Weekly do to the 3 of Sturgill. But can also get Harry off the turn 2 as Whitley gets by Threlkeld as well. Jeff Wright's just checked out. It's pretty incredible because he was saving, and he might still be, but it's a 2-second lead out of nowhere because finally that battle for second changed hands. Joshua Banks got it in the turn number 1.
Banks now starts to pull away from Bailey Turner, and Turner trying to advance in the points here tonight. Situation, try to mitigate the damage. I don't think Turner has that race-winning pace that we've seen. I think Banks, though, could contest Jeff Wright. You're starting to see that lead dwindle down just a little bit here. Last time by about identical lap times.
Jeff Wright, even then, that lap, he was still a touch faster than Joshua Banks, and that was Banks' first real lap in clean air because Jeff Wright is so far out there that he just doesn't have any dirty air to contend with from the 48. And even through all this, I've been listening, Jeff Wright is still clutching in the turn number 3, so it's not like he started to go hard. He is still saving a little bit of fuel and still gaining on the rest of the field as that gap's up to 2.1 seconds, and he was about a tenth faster than Banks again as Turner just put the block on Ferrata for third, as we're starting to see another gaggle of cars get formed up in the middle of 1 and 2. You got Bailey Turner in third, and this line goes all the way back to Ray Massey in ninth.
Just about down and done with this survey. I think I populated this list about 10 times now, trying to get this all worked out, but we've got a whole new thing for you coming up here in just a moment, so pay attention to the chat here when we generate this link, and I'll have that information out momentarily. Ferrata getting accordion. Bailey Turner, who might have been on the save strategy, maybe he's saving more than Jeff Wright. Maybe it's not going to be possible, and Jeff Wright has decided to kind of turn up the heat, or maybe he's in the green. We don't really know.
Yeah, I would be surprised if he didn't think he could make it after saving that much, but I did note that time at least he did not clutch into turn number 3, so maybe the strategy is changing a little bit. We'll just have to wait and see. You probably need to get it to around lap 90 to make it on one more stop only. If you're going to try to 2-stop it, you're probably going to be coming in the next 10-15 laps or so, I would think. So we'll see how the strategies differ at this point as the lights are on, the sun's pretty much fully down, and the track is going to go through a lot more changes, and the speed's going to pick up as well. Here goes Ferrata's diving into Turner's left rear almost there. Ferrata's another one who's getting impatient with the 24, and they almost made more contact off of turn number 2 as the 84. We haven't talked about Kenny Kibbe at all in the 84. He started 28th. He's up in the almost 7th. Caution is out, and it is at the back of the field. I think Kenny Fuller had a spin.
Lap 66, just under the halfway mark, and we go about another 30-lap stint there. I believe that's going to bring these drivers back down pit road, but we'll go back on the V-Speed instant replay and see what happened here to Fuller. Contact with Logan Threlkeld, but he was very slow in the entry of 1. Back this up one more time here. Look at it from the blimp camera. You can see to the inside, that's Austin Belke. Gets shot up the entry, and yep.
14's been a little off the pace tonight, and Threlkeld definitely threw it in there at the same time, so that's a tough situation. What isn't tough is the math now, because it really simplifies things. No more saving fuel. At least I wouldn't think. This should be a very clear one stop to the end here, with almost getting to the halfway point, as there is a stack up at pit entry. Joseph McWhorter has a destroyed front end. There's been a crash entering pit road. What in the world?
I'm not sure.
All of a sudden, oh, someone hit the barrels, and it all just stacks up. Oh, Stephen Davis did a kickflip, and he landed it. This is about a 4-car pileup at least. Who was that hit the barrels first? Is it Rob Hamp? It is. 1, 2, 3, 4. That was Whitley who got more damage. McWhorter, Max Cost, Trejo. 32 did the smart thing, just avoided pit road altogether. That was Nick Wood, who just bailed.
Yeah, I mean, when you see cars flying in the air, it's probably a good idea that the pit road is closed.
Yeah, you don't usually see them flipping at 40 miles an hour. It usually spooks you out. But it is a tough pit entry, but under green usually. I can't say I've ever seen a crash entering pit road at Darlington before under caution. I've seen him under green, not under caution, as I think the 32, now he's going to hit pit lane. Jeff Wright retains the lead through all that, but I've never seen that.
Definitely a unique situation here.
Love to see that from the Forest POV, just seeing what he saw. Because that pit road, it does jut in a little bit, because you got the inside wall that kind of goes a little lower than you're anticipating. So if you're not used to Darlington, it can be confusing and catch you out, but that's still something that probably shouldn't happen.
Well, with that, we're going to take another quick commercial break. You are watching the Saturday Night Racing League live from Darlington, presented by M&J Distributors. We'll be back here on V-Speed right after this.
What is up, everyone? I am Joshua Banks, driver of the number 35 Matco Tool Supra.
Banks, he's going to send it to the inside. They're 3 wide for the race lead. They're going to... So Banks is going to win it. Unbelievable.
And also co-owner of M&J Distributors, for the sponsor of Saturday Night Racing. So I just want to thank every single one of you for tuning into tonight's race. I hope you will put on a good show for you guys. I hope that you will enjoy it. So if you do, make sure you drop a thumbs up to V-Speed and subscribe to them, because they, as y'all know, if you haven't already, they put on some great broadcasts. So I'll make this short and sweet. The main reason for sponsoring Saturday Night Racing League is because I've been with these guys for a long time. I've raced with a lot of them. I've been through some rough times, some good times, and arguments and everything like that. But still, grand scheme of things, been through a lot of these guys, and I really do like where this league's going. I want to support it. They've given a lot to the league already, and I think, I'm capable to support back. So that's what we're doing, and we want to keep this league free, for people to join, to have a good time, come in and race and just have fun, and that's what we're all about. So that's the main reason, and that's all I really have to say about it. So I hope you do enjoy the race, enjoy this season coming up. We are hopefully going to put on a great season for you guys. Also, make sure to check out my YouTube channel, Banksy the iRacer. Link will be in the description. Check out, and you can see my point of view, see what's happening on my end. If you want to watch it, it's completely fine. If not, no big deal. So come on over, hang out after the broadcast of this race, and hopefully we'll see you over there. If not, enjoy it, and I'll see you guys on track.
Lap traffic out of the way. It's between these two. They're even for the white flag lap.
This race still very undecided.
Bradley had the lift. Big run for McWhorter. This is going to be his chance.
They're running out of time, and they know it. Horsepower at their feet.
That was a huge run for Bradley. He got back the advantage, but here comes a big dive. McWhorter might just try to run him out of room here. Oh, they put him in the wall. They're going to crash. They both crash. Here comes Ray Massey. Ray Massey's going to win it.
Back here live at Darlington, we're back green flag racing, but there is chaos all over this racetrack. Austin Belke, and just before we came back from that break, Chuck Sweeting and a few others down on the apron. Take a quick look at that replay here.
Yeah, it was Sweeting and Butcher Benjamin on the restart. Restart was clean, but these two out of turn number 4, they don't give each other enough room, and it's actually the 10 kind of squeezing his way up in front of Sweeting. They make contact, somehow keep it straight there, but it sends all these cars to the apron. And I know Belke slid through too, but he at least saved it. Somehow no caution through all that, and it's really split the field up and spread everyone out.
Margin here about 8 seconds from John Sanu to Brian Chambliss. Pretty big gap here. Actually, Chambliss to Sturgill is about 1 second. Then you got Sanu back here. And Nathan Ferrata out of the race. I think the 07 had a problem.
I think he just had an internet issue is what he did. He was just passing Sinu for 12th. I don't know what happened on pit road. He might have sped or something, but the internet has dropped out, and he was just about to get back to the top 10. So not only is it an issue on track, but sometimes off track and in the internet area is where we can have issues. And Ferrata's had issues this season with that, and he might have just dropped out of the race because of it. As that battle for second, Banks and Turner, they're pretty much magnets. Turner hit the wall there. He tried to block Banks, but he couldn't do it. How aggressive will Banks get into 3? He sent it into the corner trying to slide to 24, and he will. I think Turner kind of just gave it to him.
Back to third again for Bailey Turner. Off the wall there almost for the 30 of Miller. And here comes Noah Michalski. And that Intimidator throwback looking to the inside for the 5th spot. Not going to be able to do it through 1 and 2.
With the Intimidator versus Barney, you got black and silver versus purple pretty much at that Midnight Energy Supra. But Miller's been faster than the 0-3 long run, but Michalski's always pressuring him big time on the short run. And if he's not fast enough short run, Kenny Kibbe's going to try to take it from him. He's all the way up to 7th. And I was about to note him before we had our last caution. He's been flying through the field. He's been putting down pretty good times. But now that he's up to the 7th position, he's got tougher competition to deal with. And now, at this point, those passes are going to be tougher as Michalski looked to be inside of Miller, but did not have to run out of 2 to really do anything about it.
My frustrations continue. We'll eventually get through this. I promise, Chad. I promise I will have this this poll up here for you before the end of this race. If it takes all night.
We're still yet to see Jeff Wright get challenged for this race lead. I think since Seth Hatchell started the race in second, this might have been the closest second place has been for the majority of the race at this point in the run. Joshua Banks trying to get this lead away. Jeff Wright trying to pretty much rid the demons from last week at Atlanta. Had at least a top 2 run going. Then him and Bailey Turner have contact. It pans the race to the 0-9 of Chad Klinger. So he's trying to right those wrongs from last week as we were about to start lap number 80, 60 laps of racing to go, but that time Banks did not really close in on the 48 of Wright. He actually lost some ground, but these two have really separated themselves from Bailey Turner. Turner does not have the speed that he needs to compete with Jeff Wright, to compete with Joshua Banks, and once again he's starting to hold up a gaggle of race cars, excuse me. You got Carwile 4th, Jeremy Miller's cracked the top 5, Michalski, Kibbe, Massey, Shepard, and Sturgill are the top 10. And then you have 11th Brian Chambliss, who's now 2.5 seconds back of 10 because of how crazy that restart was with Butcher Benjamin and Chuck Sweeting having contact with Austin Belke being in that as well, as the 48 almost hit the wall there in the middle of turns 1 and 2. Attrition rate continues to pick up. Justin Ritchie, Philip Brewer, Morgan Cook, Dakota Floyd, Caleb Weekly, Rob Ham, and now Nathan Ferrata all out of the race. So 7 cars out of the race. Taylor Butcher Benjamin's 2 laps down. Seth Hatchell has gotten back on track, 17 laps down, as he runs 31st position. trying to note other drivers as well. Mark Whitley, he got damage in the second caution of the night. He's 18th now. Just McWhorter has big damage from the pit road incident. He's in the lucky dog position, but a lot of damage. It's still a long way to go. He's 23rd. Max Cost got big damage from the pit road. He's a lap down. Kenny Fuller was the last caution. He's a lap down.
Oh, the O3's around. Big impact.
Big.
That's going to bring out a yellow for sure.
Not yet. There's still no caution. Now it's out. Finally.
Oh. I think that was the 99 that got a piece of that right at the end. Brandon Wallace.
I think he just avoided him barely. I don't think he even saw him. But yeah, that was a big hit. That was for the 5th position with Jeremy Miller. And it went south, and that 0-3. It's the same thing Weekly did pretty much. That one's destroyed. He tries to get to the outside of Miller, gets the right rear there, but you're kind of out of line here. And he got his left sides on the seam. That's what cut him sideways, and then it's on from there. Huge hit into the inside wall. That'll end his day, and that is... that's another driver with issues out of turn number 4.
Wow, just missed him there for the 99. We got to go on board with that.
That was way too close. I don't even know if he ever saw him. You could see him. He can't even. I didn't really see him there. He was so far up. Can't see him. Can't see him. There he is. Oh my God. Worst case scenario.
So now drivers back down pit road. I think this is just a top off of fuel. I think you're running low on tires at this point.
This would probably be everyone's 3rd set of tires taken, and you only get 4 extras. So you probably have 1 set left after this. And this is still pretty far on fuel. You'd be going green with about 53-ish, 52-ish laps to go. So we might be in a scenario once again where we see drivers trying to save fuel to cut a pit stop out of this race now. But I think everyone has 1 set of tires left at this point. And no one's really tried any sort of strategy. Every time there's a yellow, everyone pretty much pits. And by the way, happy to report, as I say that, Alex Bell might have taken fuel only, but happy to report no one hit the barrels that time.
Oh, well, that's good. Yeah, we never really see that. Alex Bell is going to win this battle after looking like a fuel-only stop here for the 15.
And the 30 car looks like he has a speeding penalty, and he was running in the 5th position. So it's another chase driver with issues in Jeremy Miller.
So this race keeps flip-flopping on its head here. Thus far, we have completed 85 laps. We'll go back green about lap 88. And another quick break here while I get this final summary, and we'll get that link to you in just a moment. You're watching Saturday Night Racing and the chase for the Cup. Race number 1 from Darlington. Back after this.
What's up, everyone? I am Joshua Banks, driver of the number 35 Matco Tool Supra.
Comes back. He's going to send it to the inside. They're 3 wide for the race lead. They're going to... Joshua Banks is going to win it. Unbelievable.
And also co-owner of M&J Distributors for the sponsor of Saturday Night Racing. So I just want to thank every single one of you for tuning into tonight's race. I hope you will put on a good show for you guys. I hope that you will enjoy it. So if you do, make sure you drop a thumbs up to V-Speed and subscribe to them, because they, as y'all know, if you haven't already, they put on some great broadcasts. So I'll make this short and sweet. The main reason for sponsoring Saturday Night Racing League is because I've been with these guys for a long time. I've raced with a lot of them. I've been through some rough times, some good times, and arguments and everything like that. But still, grand scheme of things, been through a lot of these guys, and I really do like where this league's going. I want to support it. They've given a lot to the league already, and I think, you know, I'm capable to support back. So that's what we're doing, and we want to keep this league free, you know, for people to join, to have a good time, come in and race and just have fun, you know, and that's what we're all about. So that's the main reason, and that's all I really have to say about it. So I hope you do enjoy the race, enjoy the season coming up. We are hopefully going to put on a great season for you guys. Also, make sure to check out my YouTube channel, Banksy the iRacer. Link will be in the description. Check out, and you can see my point of view, see what's happening on my end. If you want to watch it, it's completely fine. If not, no big deal. So come on over, hang out after the broadcast of this race, and hopefully we'll see you over there. If not, enjoy it, and I'll see you guys on track.
Lap traffic out of the way. It's between these two. They're even for the white flag lap.
This race still very undecided.
Bradley had the lift. Big run for McWhorter. This is going to be his chance.
They're running out of time and they know it.
The bottom surges to the inside. Now pulls even with Hutton off of turn number 2.
900 horsepower at their feet.
That was a huge run for Bradley. He got back the advantage, but here comes a big dive. McWhorter might just try to run him out of room here. Oh, he put him in the wall. They're going to crash. They both crash. Here comes Ray Massey. Ray Massey's going to win it.
Racing enthusiasts, are you ready to take your sim racing experience to the next level? Look no further because 29 Graphics has got you covered. Introducing 29 Graphics, the premier provider of high-quality sim racing wraps. Whether you're a professional racer or weekend warrior, our custom design wraps will make your car stand out from the competition. 29 Graphics is now the official graphics design partner of Saturday Night Racing League.
It's a big dive. McWhorter might just try to run him out of room here. Oh, he put him in the wall. They're going to crash. They both crash.
Contact 29 Graphics on their Discord or the link in the video description.
Drivers, start your printers.
To keep pace with the ever-changing landscape of marketing and advertising, let Clark Print Shop help you spot the trends and keep you in front of the pack with all your color printing needs. From business cards to invitations, menus to mugs, we can print anything you need on paper or your choice of over 3,000 promotional items. Visit www.clarkprintshop.com to browse our online catalog and place your order today, or call us at 276-889-3426. For a limited time, use the code iRacing for 23% off your first purchase. The staff at Clark Print Shop looks forward to handling all your color printing needs.
In the heartland of our country, something magical is happening. At Walkin' and Rollin' Costumes, we know the power of community, of hands coming together to create wonders. These costumes are symbols of love, compassion, and inclusion. Your hands can craft dreams. Join us at Walkin' and Rollin' Costumes build events and be a part of something extraordinary.
Back here live at Darlington Raceway, where we've had another caution in that short break of time, as we're still trying to sort out that survey and that information. But at this point, I guess it's just throw the numbers up into the chat. I've tried to get some questions up here, but, there's about 350,000 websites to create an online poll, and none of them work. So with that, we can talk a little bit about the points here, Connor, and Jeff Wright having a stellar day, hasn't been contested really at all. Alex Bell, Joshua Banks, really the only cars that hung with him here. But we haven't had a green flag run really to see if anybody can get up there and snag away that lead.
Yeah, our longest run was the very first run of the race, and Seth Hatch was running second. He was taken out of this race. Joshua Banks got the second. He wasn't really able to contend with the 48 either, so it almost certainly looks like, unless something crazy happens like it did last season at Las Vegas in the chase, that Jeff Wright would be extending his points lead over guys like Bailey Turner, Banks, Bell, Jeremy Miller. Alex Bell did not take tires on the last stop, so he took fuel only. So we'll see if that extra set comes into play at some point later in this race, as we're almost getting ready for another restart. That last yellow was on lap 88. It was right after the restart. It was Ray Massey spinning out of turn number 4 in front of the field. He collected the 86 of John Sinu, excuse me. The 32 of Nick Wood. The 21 of Eddie Trejo got big damage in it as well, as we get ready for yet another restart with Jeff Wright leading.
So green flag about to come back out. Race recap, 5 cautions, 2 lead changes back underway at Darlington. This field starting to dwindle away. We still have about 28 cars running under their own power here as Noah Mahalski, the reason for the last caution. Hop the engine on the front stretch. Jeff Wright out to an excellent lead here side by side with Carlisle and Bell.
Bell on those old tires is going to struggle on these restarts, and he's just going to fade. He's hoping the yellows fall the right way, so these tires, the extra set he saved, can end up mattering. But right now, it's going to be a struggle. He's going to fall back. He's trying to hold on to 5th for as long as he can. 24 gets that. Here comes the 3, a slide by Sinu on the bottom. He saved it somehow, but that 15 is going to keep sliding backwards, as now Kenny Kibbe is into the 7th position. J.R. Shepard's up in 8th. He's had a good climb. And Chambliss and Whitley are in the top 10. Mark Whitley, even after that crash, is up to 10th. As here comes the battle for 2nd. Carlisle. Oh, Sturgill's going to spin in front of the field. Alex Bell, the 9 of Chambliss, crashed hard. Austin Belke, Brandon Wallace, they're all in it. And another crash off of turn number 4 with another caution coming out. Looks like Chuck Sweeten got some damage out of that too. There's another big wreck, and it's the same thing as earlier in the race. That time it was Sturgill who came up on the 15. That almost looked like netcode as well, but either way they come together and it causes kind of a track blocker, even though there's a lot of room, but the racing room slows up in a hurry. There's Sinu's slide, but Brandon Wallace was able to avoid that pretty easily, and you can see the 3 in the 15 side by side through turns 3 and 4. All good until that point where they make contact. It's on from there. Wallace tries to find a gap by, has to swerve at the last second, and there's nowhere for him to go besides right into the 89 of Belke. And even his day might be in a bad spot at this point with a lot of front end damage on that 99.
We're going to try this one more time. And apparently V-Speed has turned on subscriber-only mode, so we're going to have to remove that, if that's the case. But here is the pin message, and you can try this. If it doesn't work at this point, I'll just keep tabs on who posts what in the chat. But back to the live shot here. I mean, you can hear these guys in the clutch here in the top 10. Strategy after strategy. I don't think that you could quite make it. This is going to be a stretch. It's going to be just over 40 laps. I think this is right on that mark.
I think the field can make it 50, and we had the yellow at lap 85 where everyone had the yellow at lap 85 where everyone pit, which was just outside the window. But now we've had 2 quick cautions for these drivers to save fuel and, you know, just kind of coast under caution. So these drivers are probably in a good spot to make it without another pit stop under green. So we will see. We're just going to have to see If anyone tries to risk it and not try to go to the end without stopping, I think the bigger risk is betting on these drivers running out at this point, because I'm pretty confident most drivers should be able to make it without stopping again, but you might see some drivers maybe try to do that one extra stop, like the 15 who has a set of tires in the pits. He might try something interesting like that.
Yeah, we're just going to go ahead and scrap the idea of this this whole survey thing. I apologize to anybody here that was a part of this that wanted to go for the votes, but just unpinned the message, and unfortunately, I don't know what paywall I need to buy, but I'm probably not going to spend $15 for a survey tonight. It's rather unfortunate. But we have a vote for the 77 of Whitley. We have max cost from the blend there. Looks like we had some votes in there for, I believe it was the 71.
Ryan Carwile.
Carwile as well. Just remove all these messages in the previous. Yeah, I apologize to anybody out there that wanted to see these paints up close and personal. We had the whole thing like ready to go.
And I'm sure Jeff Wright's ready to go. We've had a lot of yellow flag action, which is not really action, it's just under the yellow flag, but in a way he probably won't complain. He's led all but about 3 laps of this race. He's been dominant and no one's challenged him. And we've had a bunch of different drivers in second, like Joshua Banks, like Seth Hatchell, like Bailey Turner, and now Ryan Carwile, next one in line to try to challenge this 48.
Race car out of the way. Let's try one more time for maybe a long green flag run. We could get 43 laps in on this one if we run this stint out. Some drivers that stayed out 14 laps on the tires back to John Sanu, and then it's Austin Belke. A few others, Chris Hodges on 4 fresh ones here on this restart.
And Banks got a really good restart. He fired off right with Jeff Wright. He's right on the bumper of the 48. Tried to look to the inside, did not have the room to do so, as that battle for the 4th position heats up with Kibbe and Turner side by side.
Kibbe holds it to the bottom, ends up falling back to 5th. Turner advances a position.
Kenny Fuller just crashed in turn out of 4. That's also not going to be a caution. X is probably going to be kicking himself for not getting closer to the 48 and the 3 last time by. He might not get that close to Jeff Wright ever again tonight. We'll just have to wait and see. There's still a long way to go, 40 to go this time by. But the 48's been so strong. You get an opportunity at him like that, you got to try to take it, and you probably got to try to rough him up a little bit for it, but couldn't quite do it. Joseph McWhorter just moved up to the 11th position, past Matt Shinowski in the 81. So even with his damage, he's starting to try to claw back into this race.
So I'll try to see if we can get these images. I know that we've got a list. I'm going to try to, if I can get Adam Baker on that, maybe he can throw something up for us here at the last minute. But a lot of images here, so.
I'm sure if they had rear view cameras in these Xfinity cars, you'd see that 35 getting bigger and bigger. He's a little quicker than the 48 on entry to these corners, Joshua Banks is, but Fort's able to get away from the front bumper of that 35 on exit, just to the point where Banks can't really do anything with Jeff Wright at this point. McWhorter just got back into the top 10, by the way. He just passed Austin Belke for that spot. Carwile 3rd, Turner 4th, Kibbe all the way up to the 5th position, as he got the top 4 drivers started in the top 10, and then no one else in the top 10 started better than 15th, and that was Miller. So everyone else inside the top 10 besides those top 4 drivers started 15th or worse. It's 14th or worse, I should say, because of McWhorter. That's pretty interesting. At a track that is not known for being easy to pass at, you've had a lot of drivers come from the back to get to the front.
back here with Shepard and Miller, 6th and 7th position. Have to go even further back to find another close battle between Austin Belke and Alex Bell. Remember, Bell got sideways on the apron, was able to loop it around, keep it off the wall, where a lot of guys today have came off of that corner, and once you lose it, even though it's really wide there on that front stretch, it's very difficult once you hit that seam to get this car straightened back out. So at that point, it's a matter of, yeah, get it off the racetrack, but also try to aim it away from that inside wall.
And he did take that set of tires that he had saved, so he has slightly fresher tires than everyone, but it's only by probably 2 laps or 3 laps, so it's not going to make that big of a difference. Jeff Wright ran a 30.178 last time by. Alex Bell was about a 10th faster than that, but he's more than 1/10. He's 4.2 seconds back and not even into the top 10 yet, as Banks is still lighting up Jeff Wright's bumper, or at least trying to, and he's just not quite able to get enough overlap on the 48. Stalking him at every point he can, trying to get close to the bumper, maybe wanting to use the bumper, but he hasn't done it quite yet. Every time Wright slips off the bottom seam a little bit, it gives Banks clean air to the nose to try to chase the 48 down, but you see right on corner exit, Wright's able to get back to the bottom, shut that clean air off the 35's nose, and he pulls back away. Porter just got another spot. He got 9th from John Sinu, and Alex Bell followed him through, so now Bell's back up to the 10th position. Field has been pretty split all night long since really the second caution that took a bunch of drivers out, where you just see big gaps between certain packs of cars. You see the top 6 or 7, top 7 are kind of on their own. It's another 2 seconds back of Logan Threlkeld, who's had a good climb through the field. He started 18th. He's now up to the 8th position, but he almost knocked the wall down. And now McWhorter has a big run off of turn number 2, so the 73 car is going to be up into the 8th position. Now he's climbing through the field, and he's just pretty much showing Alex Bell the way, because now Bell, you can barely see it out of turn 4 off the bumper cam of Jeff Wright. You can see Alex Bell get up to that 9th position.
I'd like to apologize here for the camera angles. We're a little bit behind on some of this stuff, so I am going to focus in. I'm locking it in here for the next 30. Side by side. Oh, contact there with, I believe that was Shinosky.
Shinosky and Massey. Shinosky in the wall a little bit there, trying to run where Kyle Larson usually runs. Taylor Butcher-Benjamin doing a little bit of a better job battling Ray Massey for that 15th position as Jeff Wright starts to extend that lead over Joshua Banks. This battle is nowhere near over, because side-by-side in turn 1 has gone sour at least once tonight, and we're probably not done, as Massey gets 14th from Butcher-Benjamin. Seth Hatchell's in this fight as well, but he's many laps down. Right in front of Mark Whitley, Max Cost, and Shinosky. And Chandless lets everyone by. He's totaled that 9 car in the last caution as well.
There's Logan Threlkeld with the top 10 right now after starting at 18th. We still got quite a few big movers. Austin Belke and Christopher Hodges up 24 and 20 positions respectively. A lot of the guys that started deep in this field, if you would have told me that they would be having solid days compared to some of these other guys that were up here in the top 10, like Seth Hatchell, like Noah Michalski and a few others, Ferrata, they're out of the race. And so maybe this is one of those kind of like Daytona styles where if you started in the back, you were able to avoid some of the carnage. Now you find yourself with attrition up towards the front.
Like I say, you got, like say it again, you got 4 drivers in the top 10 who started top 10, but then you got Mark Whitley who started 5th. He's back in 16th. Michael Sturgis a lap down in 21st. Michalski, Ferrata, they're pretty much out of the race. Seth Hatchell started second. He's 16 laps down. So it definitely seems like if you weren't ahead of it like Jeff Wright or Joshua Banks, you were definitely going to be in it, unless you were so far behind like Austin Belkey was starting in 36. He was just able to avoid everything. Christopher Hodges, who started 33rd, just able to avoid everything. They're able to get these good finishes. And it's not that they're slow, just most of them didn't really even put Q times down, whether by choice or not. They started back there because they didn't have a Q speed down. They've been able to avoid everything, and they might end up getting good finishes for themselves. Still a long ways to go, though, as Belkey runs 12, Hodges runs 13th, and Taylor Butcher Benjamin is trying to fend off Mark Whitley for 15th. At the same time, Kenny Kibbe still trying to climb through this field. Kibbe is maybe a touch faster than the 24, as Frank Chambliss might have blown up. He's slow on the apron. That should not bring out a yellow, but Kibbe's been fast all night long. He's finally cracked the top 5. He's finally chasing down Bailey Turner.
Or was down on power here, and it just pops the engine.
Yeah. Yeah, so much front end damage. You probably got the oil and water pegged pretty much, so nothing you can really do. Just trying to ride it out to get, I guess, points, and you'll go laps down. Hatchell will probably pass him, among others who are running laps down, like Fuller, who's on the bottom of the racetrack. The only thing that might be able to hurt Jeff Wright is lap traffic. It might have played a factor last week. It almost played a factor there. He just barely got around the 14, and the 99 pulls down to the apron as well. But that was a big part of the race last week, is where maybe lap traffic kind of spooked Jeff Wright. Wright went up the track into Turner, maybe partially because of that, but I think Jeff Wright will probably tell you it was still a mistake on his part. But so far it's been smooth sailing. I mean, he's been untouched. Banks, that's as close as we saw anyone to him, and he still wasn't able to even get alongside him, as we might see a side-by-side top 5 battle soon, because Kibbe's all over Bailey Turner, but he just is not quite there yet.
Working this spot now for about 10 laps. He was to the inside at one point. This field has spread out quite considerably. Some back and forth between Shepard and Jeremy Miller was a lot closer there just a moment ago. Logan Threlkeld is starting to go on offense. He's caught Joseph McWhorter for the 9th position.
And it's interesting because McWhorter kind of chased down and passed Threlkeld, and now he's fading back to the clutches of the 12, so I wonder if this is a damage thing kind of doing this to McWhorter, as Zernak kind of blinked out a little bit. I wonder if this is his tires fading, or if this is just mainly damage playing a part and just having this car fall off this early in the run on tires.
Back here in the 17th position, it's right on board with Max Cost. Started in 34th, he's passed half this field, and he's managed to keep his car clean. That's 99% of this race right now, is just having a car to finish with. We've seen so many top name drivers that are out of this event that aren't going to be getting points in round 1 of the chase. And for our inaugural season champion, it's been a dominant day. Jeff Wright has led 116 of the 140 scheduled laps. Coming up for 20 laps to go now as he crosses the stripe and continues to keep that half, almost full second lead. Ryan Carwile and Joshua Banks second and third. Haven't seen a lot of back and forth. Banks probably playing the wrong run. He's maintaining the gap here.
Here comes Kibbe for 5th, though. We got a run on Turner, forced his nose to the inside of the 24, but I don't think he's going to be able to stay alongside. Although I think Turner's definitely struggling. He just has not had the handle of this car at this track at this point. It's a completely different story for Jeff Wright at this point. We still have about 19 laps to go, but we always call this a track too tough to tame. The Lady in Black might have a new master in about 18 and a half laps. I mean, it's been that dominant.
You come out here with a points lead, your confidence level, how high does it get here, Connor? I don't know. For you personally, I've not come into a playoff format with a points lead, but even just having a playoff berth where you're, in the top 5 kind of changes your mentality. And for Jeff Wright, I think that's exactly the recipe, the right ingredients. He's put this together. You give him a chance like this, and he just tends to start driving so much better.
It's definitely the right track that he wanted to come to for sure, to be able to dominate like this. No one's really been able to touch him. I mean, this probably couldn't start any better. We saw last season how a lot of mile and a halves became kind of a lottery, kind of ruined his chance at 2 straight titles in this series. And next week's Bristol, it will likely be a completely different story for him next week, because he's not really a short track guy. That's kind of Joshua Banks' forte. To be able to start at a track like this, that's really difficult on a lot of drivers to be able to put on this type of performance. It is a huge confidence booster, and I think he knew this was going to happen coming in. He's a guy that's very fast at these types of tracks, and it's really no surprise to be seeing him putting on this type of performance as we close in on about 16 laps to go. Not very surprising to see this unfolding.
In the top 10, a couple battles still going on. Jeremy Miller, you see a little bit of an accordion effect with Bailey Turner starting to fall back to Kibbe, Miller, Bell, and Shepard. That is 4th through 8th position, roughly. And Joseph McWhorter back here. It's about 5.5 seconds back, just trying to hold on to the top 10. John Sanu, great race for him. Started in 25th, gaining 15 spots to be here. Maybe a top 10 day for the 86 Toyota machine.
And he had gotten by Threlkeld not too long ago for that 10th position. Behind them, it's a pretty big stack up. You got Belkey, Hodges, Massey, Whitley, all for position, 4 in a row right there, as Jeff Wright gets by Brandon Wallace again. Carwell, I think, is faster than Banks, but we've seen all night long, once he catches someone, he kind of gets stalled out in a wall of dirty air, and right now that's happening once again to the 71. The same thing's happening to Kibbe behind Bailey Turner. He is so much faster than Bailey Turner, but every time he tries to make a pass, he not only doesn't get to the right rear of Bailey Turner or doesn't stay under Bailey Turner, Jeremy Miller starts to challenge him for that position. That's another tough part of Darlington as well, because you could be trying to make a pass on someone as Massey gets by Hodges. You could be notably faster than a driver in front of you, but if you can't make that pass work the first time you try it, the guy behind you is going to see that and be like, oh, I'm faster than this guy, I should try to pass him. Well, that's not the case. You're probably slower than the guy in front of you. The only reason you're able to catch him is because he's getting held up by a driver that you're faster than, and he's way faster than. So that's another just frustrating part of Darlington, because people sometimes don't know the situation, and that can cause chaos as well.
Seen it time and time again, but what we're seeing right here is Bailey Turner has been caught by 4 cars. He's going to have his hands full for the next roughly 13 laps. Can he hold on to this top 5 to the outside for Kibbe?
Yeah, but here we go again as they make more contact. Every time Kibbe tries this move on the 24 of Turner, Miller just tries to take advantage instead of just letting him battle it out. What he should do is just let Kibbe battle him and then follow him through past Bailey Turner, if possible. But instead, he's trying to get by the 84 and take advantage of that spot instead of potentially trying to get the 24, which is probably more likely at this point, as Kibbe keeps trying to go to the top. Now he goes to the bottom, but he actually slides up the track, trying to get the right rear, but doesn't quite have the grip to do so. Every time he gets up there, he loses momentum, and here comes Miller again for position.
This time really sending it into turn 1, might slide up into the 84. That was a close one there. Miller almost opened up the door for the 15 of Bell.
Oh, he will. And keep in mind, 15's tires, not too much fresher, but they are still fresher. He's chased this line down completely.
I mean, 10 laps to go. At this point, even if the guy is faster than me, I'm still going to look for that spot. I think it's just a matter of, if you can't complete the pass on Bailey Turner, maybe I'll just complete the pass on you. And even if I don't complete it, if I just get the nose over you coming out of 4 and get that one spot, that's what I need, especially if you're Alex Bell. Remember, he came in with the points lead at one point here during the regular season. He's had a stellar season in SNR. I believe his first win came here in Season 3.
It did come in Season 3 back at Nashville Fairgrounds, and we know what type of race that was. A short track, obviously, and we go to Bristol next week, so that could be an advantage for him as well. Maybe Bristol is exactly what he needs to kickstart his championship chase for this season, as right now he's going to try to chase down Miller. He had gotten by J.R. Shepard not too long ago. Meanwhile, Logan Threlkeld starting to fall. Ray Massey got 11th from him, and Austin Belkey is going to look for 12th at this point, as Carwell hasn't been able to do anything with Banks, and Kibbe has not been able to do anything with Bailey Turner.
Jeff Wright coming around here for about 5 to go. That Jimmy Johnson throwback 48. Tell you what, if you want to talk about a dominant performance, we haven't seen very many of those here in SNR this season. And a lot of lead changes, a lot of low caution races, a lot of fuel strategy races. But here tonight, this is what we saw in season 1 for Jeff Wright, having dominant days, you know, every couple weeks. There he is again, back in full form. The 48 machine, I think he's pretty much set sail into the sunset. It's going to take something dramatic here to change the outcome of this race.
Last thing he wants is a caution as he passes 99 again. But I think if he saw the battle for 4th, he would be pretty confident that a caution was going to come out. I mean, he's just got to cruise at this point, not hit the wall on his own, which should be pretty easy. But these battles are still really interesting around the entire field. That 4-car pack in turn 1 has been very thrilling to watch. Bailey Turner's done a great job, credit to him, be able to make that 24 as wide as possible to stay in this 4th position. I'll just wonder how much longer will it last, how much more patient will Kenny Kibbe be, because he's been very patient with the 24 this entire run. He has not made contact with him at all, not intentionally at least. The same thing goes for Carwell on Banks. He caught him 10 laps ago, 15 laps ago. He just hasn't been able to do anything about it.
So it would appear that we have a second survey going. I know that the results were starting to get a little unhinged there for what we had a moment ago. So we've got a new survey up, a new league. Problem with Kibbe here.
And he hit Miller back. I think him and Miller had contact, and he did not like it. I think Miller's going to get the
5 laps to go. Try to get those votes in. Man, there's a lot of contact here. These guys are going to jostle for one spot. Kibbe falls back. He's going to lose 2 more.
Whoa, big slide job by Bell. Kibbe's getting kind of roughed up here for sure. This is not going to work out of turn 2. He has to fully lift out of it. So instead of potentially getting 4th, he's going to barely be able to hang on to 7th. And Miller actually hit the wall behind Bailey Turner out of turn number 2. At the same time, Carwell just keeps trying to get the right rear of Banks, but can't quite do it. That battle's still going on. You still have shuffling just outside the top 10 as well. Ray Massey actually just got into the top 10 past John Sinu for that position, as Threlkeld has fallen to the 15th position behind Christopher Hodges. Mark Whitley's up to the 12th position at the same time. At this point, Jeff Wright's trying to hustle to the white flag. He doesn't want to have any more laps. He does not want to have to take that final set. He does not want to have to risk someone taking 2 tires at this point, as Carwell and Banks side by side for second down into turn number 1. Neither driver's going to give an inch, but Carwell finally got the outside of Banks, and he's got the second spot. Whoa, Miller almost turned Bailey Turner. This is tight. Look at him blocking. Miller's going to try to get this 4th position as Jeff Wright gets to the white flag. They made contact that time. Are they going to make it to the white flag? Jeff Wright will. Miller will not. And the caution is not going to come out. The white flag is out. This race is official, and playoff chase drivers are totaled. Miller's in the middle of the field, and he's going to get hit again. McWhorter got big damage out of that. The 77 got big damage out of that. But Jeff Wright's ahead of it all. Jeff Wright out of turn number 4. No drama for him. Leads almost every lap. He will win the first race of the Saturday Night Racing League Chase at Darlington. Dominating effort. A dramatic finish, however. Goodness. This is the replay. They made contact. Miller made more contact. Then they kind of get hooked together. Miller crashes. The 15, 98, they all get damage. But it was right after Jeff Wright crossed the line to take the white flag, and then Miller does not reset. Whitley kind of hits him. A little glitchy there. McWhorter got a big piece of that as well. That will be looked at for sure, I'm sure. as Whitley pretty much crab walks to the checkered flag. Jeff Wright
Post-race interviews, though, I mean, you got to talk to Jeff Wright here, Connor. That was a dominant performance as he burns it down here on the front stretch. Just a phenomenal drive here. Darlington was kind to the 48 team.
No contest, and that is exactly how you start the chase if you're Jeff Wright, trying to get to his second Saturday Night Racing League title. That's a great way to start that challenge.
Post-race interviews with your top three. Those final results going to come up after this. We have a new link in the chat as well. If you would like to vote for those paint schemes, we will close the polls after this broadcast is over with, but go ahead and do that now. We'll be back here on V-Speed right after this.
What's up, everyone? I am Joshua Banks, driver of the number 35 Matco Tool Supra.
Comes back, he's going to send it to the inside. They're 3 wide for the race lead. They're going to Joshua Banks is going to win it. Unbelievable.
And also co-owner of M&J Distributors for the sponsor of Saturday Night Racing. So I just want to thank every single one of you for tuning into tonight's race. I hope you will put on a good show for you guys. I hope that you will enjoy it. So if you do, make sure you drop a thumbs up to V-Speed and subscribe to them, because they, as y'all know, if you haven't already, they put on some great broadcasts. So I'll make this short and sweet. The main reason for sponsoring Saturday Night Racing League is because I've been with these guys for a long time. I've raced with a lot of them. I've been through some rough times, some good times, and arguments and everything like that. But still, grand scheme of things, been through a lot of these guys, and I really do like where this league's going. I want to support it. They've given a lot to the league already, and I think, you know, I'm capable to support back. So that's what we're doing, and we want to keep this league free, you know, for people to join, to have a good time, come in and race and just have fun, you know, and that's what we're all about. So that's the main reason, and that's all I really have to say about it. So I hope you do enjoy the race, enjoy the season coming up. We are hopefully going to put on a great season for you guys. Also, make sure to check out my YouTube channel, Banksy the iRacer. Link will be in the description. Check out, and you can see my point of view, see what's happening on my end. If you want to watch it, it's completely fine. If not, no big deal. So come on over, hang out after the broadcast of this race, and hopefully we'll see you over there. If not, enjoy it, and I'll see you guys on track.
Lap traffic out of the way. It's between these two. They're even for the white flag lap.
This race still very undecided.
Bradley had the lift. Big run for McWhorter. This is going to be his chance.
They're running out of time, and they know it.
The bottom surges to the inside, now pulls even with Hutton off the turn number 2.
900 horsepower at their feet.
That was a huge run for Bradley. He got back the advantage, but here comes a big dive. McWhorter might just try to run him out of room here. Oh, they put him in the wall. They're going to crash. They both crash. Here comes Ray Massey. Ray Massey's going to win it.
Racing enthusiasts, are you ready to take your sim racing experience to the next level? Look no further, because 29 Graphics has got you covered. Introducing 29 Graphics, the premier provider of high-quality sim racing wraps. Whether you're a professional racer or weekend warrior, our custom design wraps will make your car stand out from the competition. 29 Graphics is now the official graphics design partner of Saturday Night Racing League.
It's a big dive. McWhorter might just try to run him out of room here. Oh, they put him in the wall. They're going to crash. They both crash.
Contact 29 Graphics on their Discord or the link in the video description.
Drivers, start your printers.
To keep pace with the ever-changing landscape of marketing and advertising, let Clark Print Shop help you spot the trends and keep you in front of the pack with all your color printing needs. From business cards to invitations, menus to mugs, we can print anything you need on paper or your choice of over 3,000 promotional items. Visit www.clarkprintshop.com to browse our online catalog and place your order today, or call us at 276-889-3426. For a limited time, use the code iRacing for 23% off your first purchase. The staff at Clark Print Shop looks forward to handling all your color printing needs.
In the heartland of our country, something magical is happening. At Walkin' and Rollin' Costumes, we know the power of community, of hands coming together to create wonders. These costumes are symbols of love, compassion, and inclusion. Your hands can craft dreams. Join us at Walkin' and Rollin' Costumes build events and be a part of something extraordinary.
Welcome back to Darlington Raceway, where the Saturday Night Racing League Chase Race number 1 has concluded for its 140 laps here today. It was a dominant performance by the 48 team, able to put it down for over 120 laps led here tonight. Final results up on your screen now. 6 cautions and 2 lead changes. One of those lead changes coming during one of those cautions is the 15 of Alex Bell had stayed out to try a no tire stop. Didn't pan out for the race win, but did pan out for a top 5 finish. You got Ryan Carwile, Joshua Banks. A lot of the drivers that started outside of the top 20 are up here in the top 5. Kibbe able to get a top 5 finish. There's Alex Bell. Bailey Turner with that last lap, or at the white flag, coming out of 4, had contact with the 30 of Miller. Miller loses a lot of ground here. I think he's outside the top 15 to finish this one out. J.R. Shepard, 7th position. Ray Massey, 8th. Austin Belke in 9th. And John Sanu, after starting in 25th, he will get a top 10.
I'm sure he'll take that, but yeah, so much drama happened before they even got to the white flag, but Jeff Wright had gotten to the white flag, so it ended up mattering, but it took out a lot of cars that could have finished better. Hodges, Threlkeld, Shanosky, Cost, Butcher, Benjamin get top 15 finishes out of all this. Mark Whitley was in that final lap crash. He ended up 16th. McWhorter was in it as well. He was not able to finish the race, so he finished 17th. Mark McFadden 18th. Jeremy Miller was not able to cross the line after the contact with Bailey Turner, finishing 19th. And Michael Sturgill, who was in a few crashes tonight, really had no luck tonight, finishes 20th.
Brendan Wallace will get 21st, 4 laps down. Then you have Nick Wood in 22nd, Stephon Davis in 23rd. Kenny Fuller is going to finish 24th. Seth Hatchell, who ran up in the top 3, ran second most of this day, had some problems there at the halfway point, 25th place. Brian Chambliss, 26th. Eddie Trejo, 27th. Chuck Sweeting, a driver who was in the back of the field to start this race, and worked his way to the top 10. Got caught up in a caution as well, finishes 28th. Noah Mahalski, a self-spin on the front stretch, 29th here tonight after popping an engine. And Nathan Ferrata, another top 10 driver, probably had the top 10 speed. He finishes 30th.
And then these final few finishers, Rob Hamp, unfortunately the innocent driver who hit the pit barrels, he finishes 31st. That's why he exited the race. Caleb Weekly was in the first crash of the night, finishing 32nd. Dakota Floyd was crashed out on that back straightaway crash with Weekly, or not with Weekly, with the 77 and 8. He finishes 33rd. Morgan Cook was in the first caution, finishes 34th. Philip Brewer, same thing, 35th. As the same for Justin Ritchie, 36th. And then Jonathan Smith, who did not start this race, will get credited with 37th position.
And with that, it's time for your post-race interviews. We're going to take it down trackside now and catch up with your third place finisher of the night. It's Joshua Banks in the number 35, and I believe Connor Horn is caught up with him.
I got Joshua Banks. Joshua, you didn't lead any laps. Not many people did, but you get a third place finish out of the night, so you got at least that going on for you. You weren't a part of much chaos. Really, the most chaotic part was probably your battle for a second, but talk about how your night went. How tough was it out there to even make passes?
It definitely was tough. You get behind somebody and you don't get that pass. You're in that dirty air, and it just burns your tires up. You're trying to do what you can to get the run, to get a pass, and then the setup was just, it was good, to an extent, but I struggle with saving a right front, or at least using the right front effectively. especially on a low temp track that we had tonight. So I was burning through it. Most people won't say this, but I think my right front got down to like 46%, and I was cooked. So somehow I was lucky to get P3, but it just isn't my thing, and it was tough. It's definitely tough. So you had to be quick and early to get passes, and that last run with Jeff just killed my tires because I was trying to get to him to get past, to get clear. But we all know this, and everybody says it. But Jeff's just hard to beat sometimes out these tracks like this. So it's fun though. I love this track. I've really come around to liking it. I used to not like it just because I couldn't figure it out, but now it's become one of my favorites. So it's fun. It just wish we had a little bit more flexibility with the lanes and a little bit more looseness out of the car to help the right rear use it more. That's where I like it most. But it is what it is. It's good for the chase that we got P3. It's not good Jeff won, but still, for points wise, we're up front. We're not out of it. So just keep on attacking at it and going for it.
Keep on attacking at it for sure. Obviously, like you said, 48's not great that he won, but you still get a solid finish out of the day where a lot of drivers weren't able to even do that. So congrats on third at least. Anyone want to thank, shout out?
Of course, you guys up in the booth, you, Connor and Bradley, y'all doing a good job up in the booth as always. And hopefully we put on a pretty good show, even though it felt like more of a single lane race tonight to an extent. You have people getting runs in side by side, but to me, it felt like more single lane. But either way, shout out to you guys, V-Speed, and then, of course, the league admins and everybody, Jeff, Chad, Reggie, everybody up top, Brian, doing what to do with this league, man. We're keep pumping out these numbers of drivers. It's really, really cool to see, and I'm really happy to be sponsoring this league and getting these people out here and racing. It's a good field count, and everybody's doing really, really good. So shout out to admins for that and the league, and then of course the sponsor M&J Distributors for us sponsoring this league, and then all of our other sponsors and partners and everything coming in and helping out with the league as well. So we'll just go on next week. Bristol, one of my best tracks. Hopefully we can get that concrete on it with a checker flag.
Joshua Banks, fourth top 3 of the season. Congrats on that, Joshua. Thanks for talking to us.
All right, buddy. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
With that, we move on to our second place finisher. I've caught up with Ryan Carwile down here in the pits. And Ryan, I tell you, it was an up and down day. A lot of people struggled, but you seem to be one of the consistent drivers in this top 10 throughout the race. How difficult was it, though, to, one, avoid the carnage, and two, try to maintain any spot you were on the track?
Yeah, I think it was a bit of luck, just being in the right spot at the right time. I really didn't have any close calls. I just wasn't, just was able to take evasive maneuvers pretty easily. Yeah, I was. Luckily, this track's really hard to pass on, so I was trying to back up a little bit to avoid cooking my right front and getting into the dirty air. So that was my main strategy.
Well, overall, you started in the top 10. You're one of the few drivers that started there and then come home with a podium finish. To do that in its own, we looked through this field here, and there's, I believe, 5 out of the 10 weren't even in the top 20. I think it was that ridiculous. So at a track like Darlington, what is your mindset when you come into a place like this? You're guaranteed to qualify and you're going to try to stick it out.
Yeah, I think your mindset has to be focused on survival and tire conservation. Just because, I mean, it was a 140 lap race. It's a long race, and the tires, once they fall off, you're pretty much done. And it's so hard to pass that you can be in tire conservation mode while still maintaining your track position if you're smart about how you do it.
Ryan, one last thing here coming into today. I know the season has had its ups and downs, but anybody you want to shout out while we have you in the booth?
Yeah, I'll shout out my mom and dad, since they're the ones that got me into racing.
Ryan Carwile, second place finish here at Darlington Raceway, and we will move on to victory lane. Thank you for your time, though, Carwile.
Thank you.
It's been a weird day for me, I tell you. tried to do something neat and cool and unique. And you know who did do something unique and cool? Dominant performance. Connor Horn is down in victory lane with Jeff Wright.
I do have Jeff Wright. Jeff, you led all but 3 laps. You led 137 of 140 laps. You started tonight with a 7-point lead, entering the chase. You're going to extend that in stunning fashion. Did you expect to dominate like that at all?
Well, you know, when we got the pole, I knew we were going to be in a really good spot here to compete for things. It's just so hard to pass at this racetrack, and then you throw on the day to night transition. The track just got cooler, got more grip, and so it was all about just keeping that track position. And yeah, we were able to do that. We were able to get on and off pit lane under caution and keep the lead. We really only had that one moment where Alex, I think, he elected just to take fuel, save a set of tires, and he came out as the leader. And I mean, right there, I figured that was the race right there. That's where that was going to be decided, because he had a teammate and Joshua Banks obviously behind him. And I knew if I did not get a good restart there, I probably, wasn't going to win the race. I mean, it's just so hard to pass. So whoever was going to get the lead there was going to have such a huge advantage. But yeah, just stoked to be able to get a win, especially at an awesome track like Darlington. So, and obviously, the point situation too, we're going to come out of here with a bit of a bigger buffer. So that's really big too. And couldn't start the chase off any better.
It definitely couldn't start any better than that. Unofficially, it's a 17-point gap to Banks and Turner, so congratulations on that big way to start the chase with taming the Lady in Black. Anyone you want to thank? Anyone you want to shout out?
Yeah, first I got to give Rob Denton, Kyle Peacock shout out. They put their tickets in, put their bet slips in, and they trusted that I could go out and get it done tonight, and we were able to do that. So cash those guys a couple tickets. Appreciate their support. Obviously, you, Connor, and Bradley up in the booth every single week. You guys doing an awesome job. All of our sponsors, especially the premier sponsor, M&J Distributors, everything that they've done for us. To have a series title sponsor like them to allow us to continue to do this and allow us to be able to afford these quality broadcasts that V-Speed puts on, that's just everything. And then all the other sponsors, 29 Graphics, Walk and Roll and Costumes, Clark Print Shop, everything that they do. So, yeah, just big thanks to those guys. And now we got a bit of a buffer here, and these next 2 weeks are going to be treacherous for sure. Being in Bristol, anything could happen, and then Talladega. So we're trying to build up as big a buffer as we can, because we have no idea what might happen at those tracks.
Jeff Wright dominates the Lady in Black. Jeff, congratulations on the big win. Thanks for talking to us. You have a good night.
Thanks. You too, Connor.
So there you have it. A dominant day for Jeff Wright. Puts it in victory lane. Yeah, man. Any final thoughts here, Connor, while we have them? I mean, the schedule here, it's just been difficult racing here for these 5 chase races. Bristol, Talladega. You got to survive at every one of these tracks to start out the first 3.
Yeah, let's talk about survival. We got a Talladega in 2 weeks. That'll be fun for everyone involved, I'm sure. But Bristol, we've seen crazy races there at Bristol before. We've seen Joshua Banks specifically prevail at Bristol before, and short tracks aren't really Jeff Wright's forte, so we could see that battle for the lead shift hands just that easily. We'll just have to wait and see. Talladega's a crapshoot. It's somewhat normal at New Hampshire, believe it or not, after our Thanksgiving break, but Las Vegas, that's pretty much where the championship flipped last season from Jeff Wright's hands to Joe McWhorter's hands, and now it's the season finale. It could decide everything, but we still got about a month to go before we even get that far.
Hope you can join us next Saturday at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, where we head to our Bristol Motor Speedway, a short track race in the stint of the 5-race chase season, as we go all the way to December 14th. Again, that'll be at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. For everybody here at Saturday Night Racing League, my colleague up in the booth, Connor Horn, Adam Baker in the background that helps us with all of our graphics, helped us put up our survey tonight. He does a lot here for V-Speed. This is Bradley Cooper telling you so long from Darlington, South Carolina. We'll see you in 1 week's time. Stay tracking, everybody.